Hey everybody, welcome back to my layout. So this will be a layout update for August 2017. Actually got quite a bit of stuff done over the last month down here. This is just a test train that we've been running just to test all these reverse loop tracks because I've got them all wired and all the feeders are done and everything, so we've just been testing them to make sure that the track work is good. No new rolling stock to show you, so we'll just jump into what's new down here on the layout. So like I was saying, the wiring's finished on this CP Points West reverse loop. You can see all the track buses running over there to where the control panel will be for it. I've also got all the tortoises installed, so that's the next thing. We'll be wiring those up, the 12 volt DC bus for the tortoises, and then wiring the control panel all together right over here. One little thing I wanted to share with you guys that I kind of discovered as I was wiring and soldering these feeders underneath the layout. So track height actually plays a big role in how easy it is to work under your layout, and I didn't really foresee this, but choosing to set this layout height at 48 inches here, so the track, the head of the rail is 48 inches from the ground. I didn't know it would happen, but this actually allows me to work on the layout by sitting in just a normal office chair, just kind of pressed down all the way to the ground and reclined. But it's actually quite comfortable to work underneath. And my old layout was like about 42 inches or maybe even a little bit lower, and I had to sit on the floor because it was low and you just couldn't get a chair under there. So it's actually something to consider when you're designing a layout, because this makes it a lot more comfortable when you're spending a lot of time under there soldering feeders or like wiring the tortoises and stuff like that. So just something I kind of found out as I was working on this. This is a good comparison. This Fremo module is 42 inches to the head of the rail here, and you can see you can't get the same office chair underneath, so to work on this one you need like a little stool or something. You have to sit and kind of crane your neck, so that's something to consider when you're designing your layout. If you have a rail height of about around 46 or 48 inches, it's a lot easier to work on than if it's lower. So over here on the CP side, I've been working on this kind of like the electronics center. I got tired of working in the dark, so I added a light in here. So this is just under the staircase. Got our deep freeze here too. So you can see there's the bus wires coming from the reverse loop feeding into the DCC system for the CP side. So two boosters, and I'm going to split it up kind of half and half over the two boosters. I also have the 12 volt DC power supply here that I'm going to use to power the tortoise switch machines. So over here, just on the opposite side of the CP layout, you can see where those bus wires are all running from that reverse loop. So the reason they come all over here is because this is where the control panel is going to be, and this is where you will operate the reverse loop from. So you can see that's where the trains will emerge from staging, coming out onto the layout this direction, and when you need to operate the reverse loop, you'll stand here at this where the control panel will be to control the reverse loop. So I used Corel Draw to design a control panel for this reverse loop, and this is kind of what I'm leaning towards. So I'll use these little micro toggle switches for the tortoises, and these are on, off, on in the other direction. And I chose those just so that you can, if you're not using the switch, you can just move it to the off position, and then you won't have the tortoise motor drawing current. I don't know if it matters or not, but there'd be 8 of them drawing current, plus the other 8 on the other side of the layout, so you'd have 16 tortoises drawing current. So this way, if you're not using the reverse loop, you can just move the route to the off position, and it will just kill the power to the tortoise and leave the switch in the same spot. This isn't a final design. This is just a rough kind of sketching something up to see what it'll look like. But basically, these are where these switches will go, and each one of these spots. I'm kind of leaning towards a green LED on either side, so the switches will all be up and down. So kind of like this is a double track, so if you're standing here and you wanted to control the reverse loop and you wanted to route a train in there, and say you wanted to do it on track 4 here, so you just move the toggle switches up or down depending on which route you want to take. So to get to track 4, we'd go up, down, down, then we follow it around. Here, these will be power switches. So this is how you could kill the if you want to kill the power to this specific track. That way you don't have a bunch of locomotives sitting there drawing current. Like if you have 5 trains in here, you could have potentially, say, 3 locomotives per train. You could have 15 locomotives all drawing current, not doing anything, sitting there idling. So there will be the same type of switch, but just a double pull, double throw, on, off. And they will be in this position, so down will be off, on will be up. If you move the switch to the up position, turn it on, 2 LEDs will light up and just show you that the route's powered. So you'd power up track 4, we'd be coming around, we would go down, up, 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 and then the green lights would all show that we're aligned through, and we would be able to bring our train around through track 4 and then back out on the other direction. And just prototypical location wise, I just kind of just for fun made this represent Stephen, which is west of Divide. And I do have the Divide crossovers on my layout, but Stephen is kind of further west, so this just kind of like represents this is off the layout. And it would be more like a CTC type control than a rather you're actually there throwing switches. So it's kind of why I went with the green LEDs. I think it's going to be, I don't mind the size. This is just 8.5 by 11, like a sheet of paper size for a control panel. And I think I'll kind of angle it out a little bit so that you can see it instead of it being flat on the fascia. So just kind of having it out at a slight angle, I think, is what I'm going to do, kind of angling out of the fascia. Haven't totally decided yet, but I don't know, let me know what you guys think. What would you guys do for a control panel? Like, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible so that people that aren't familiar with the layout would be able to come over and just easily look at it and it'd be intuitive to line a train through. So that's kind of my goal, is to make it just simple, just basic graphic. So one other new thing over here on the CP side of the layout, the LED lights that I've been kind of keeping an eye on, they finally went on sale. So I ordered 1 string just to test the concept, because they're quite expensive. So these are made by a company called UG LED, and the string is it's called a hybrid color. So it has 1 string of 1 circuit of yellowish LEDs and 1 circuit of bluish LEDs, and that way you can kind of, if you have 2 dimmers, you can manipulate the color that the string puts out. So I kind of got just temporarily set up the 2 dimmers here. Those are just a 12-volt power supply, and then I just temporarily attached the LED string up into the joists, just because I want to simulate and make sure that this will actually be bright enough and it would work. So it's kind of representative of how it's going to be. I'm not going to attach it right to the very top of the floor joist. The final kind of build idea that I had was I'll put the lighting valance on, which is, you can see it's kind of started there. That'll come down, and then I will attach the LEDs so that they're facing kind of like this at the layout all the way around, and that's kind of how I'm going to do it, because that way it's a little bit closer, it'll be a little bit brighter, and you can kind of angle it to get that little bit of, to try and have the shadows on this side instead of on the aisle side. So this is all hooked up right now, so we can turn it on. So that's the yellowish string on full blast, and this is the blue string on full blast. So it's quite bright. I gotta do some more testing, but the cool thing about this is that you can actually simulate, not sure how good the camera will pick it up, but you can simulate kind of the conditions you'd see at sunrise or sunset. So there you can see the lighting is getting a little bit more, that's all yellow, and then you can dim the yellow down too, so you could say like this would be kind of more of a late afternoon. I don't know, it's something I've always wanted to try. Since I like making videos of trains, is kind of being able to control the lighting is important. So that's full blast, both colors. So that's both colors on full blast. So this is kind of like a daylight type of light around 4,000 Kelvin. And keep in mind it'll be a little bit brighter than this because it's actually, the strip will be about 18 inches lower when on the final kind of install. I'm really liking it. I think that this is going to be a pretty awesome kind of feature of the layout, because Obviously, it's got to be bright to do any kind of video or photography on a layout, and I prefer really bright layouts myself. But so far, so good. I think I really like the color that this puts out, and because it's a high CRI, the colors all look really good in this light. I still want to do a few tests like at nighttime when I'm not getting the light from the windows, because obviously, especially this part of the layout, eventually this will be drywalled. This will be a drywall wall, and there will be drywall on this side as well. So the layout lighting is going to have to be 100% coming from the strips. You're not going to get any kind of boost from the windows or anything. So I'm going to test it at night. I downloaded an app. I don't know how accurate it is, but it tests like the lux, they call it, the lumens. So I'm going to do some more testing, and but so far so good. Like, this seems pretty promising. I really like that you can adjust the colors. Just try one more time, see if the camera can pick it up. So that's full blast, both colors. That's the bluish, like the 6500K. And it's both again. And that's the yellow, so it should be like a 2700. Oh, that one's causing the camera to go. That one's like a 2700 or a 3000 Kelvin light. And that's both again. And the last thing that's new down here is just more cork and rubber Subroadbed. I've just been continuing on, kind of doing a couple pieces a day if I can. So I think last layout update I was somewhere over here. Now I've got the cork and the rubber Subroadbed all the way around. I'm over here now. So another 30 or 40 feet done. So slowly but steady, we're getting it done down here. So I'm almost to Lake Louise Station now here. This is the beginning kind of the Lake Louise Station part of the layout. This part of the construction is quite time consuming just because doing the rubber adds that extra step. So you have to cut out the rubber pieces, they're not too bad because I'm using the paper templates, but then you have to glue it down, let it dry for a day, and then I come and do the cork after that. So I kind of work ahead with I'll do kind of keeping ahead with the rubber part of it, and then I'll do a couple pieces of cork following it, but we're getting there. This is probably, I'd say maybe 30% done now. So I just try to do a couple pieces of cork every day if I can. It doesn't always happen, but that's just how it goes sometimes. So that'll wrap up this layout update, guys. Plans for the next month are probably just continue on with the roadbed, and hopefully I can make a decision on that lighting. And the next major thing that I got to get done is wire up that control panel and the CP reverse loop and get that thing operational and done, and then I can continue on building the rest of the bench work for the CN side. So that's what I'm going to be working on over the next couple months. As always, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.